Oh, yeah, Rashford. Let me talk to you about Marcus Rashford. So, a lot of people saying, look, I've seen virtually every Rashford game for Villa. I watched the England game last night. I certainly won't be watching it tomorrow. God, I mean, who did they play on Friday night? Albania, 65th best team in the world. They're playing, who are they playing tomorrow night? I can't even remember. Latvia, 125th best team in the world. I mean, if you want to waste your Monday night doing that, I wouldn't bother. Get yourself onto That's Football. I'm live streaming from Baller League, so join me there for that. But I've watched most Rashford games, and there is definitely a difference with Rashford. As we've seen, he's running around more, he's putting more effort in, fresh challenge, point to prove, whatever. But hello everybody, today's clip is supported by Sleeper. Before we dive in, let me tell you a bit more about Sleeper. This app is making serious waves. It was the #1 downloaded sports app in the US during the NFL season, even beating heavyweights such as ESPN and Yahoo. Sleeper isn't just popular, it's because they truly deliver the best fantasy experience. You get deeper customization, more league options, and all the bells and whistles that make managing your fantasy team a blast. But that's not all. Sleeper is growing a fantastic community with several million people using it daily for their sports fix. Sleeper has a broad appeal and is genuinely built for everyone. So, if you're looking to up your fantasy game, make sure to check out Sleeper by clicking the link in the video description. Trust me, you won't regret it. A few people have been talking over the weekend about the likelihood of a return to Manchester United. I would rather watch Man United lose 7-0 to Liverpool again than have Rashford back. Simply because that was painful, but at least it was over in 90 minutes. Do we really want to go back to another 2 or 3 year saga of Marcus Rashford at Manchester United? Does he want to go back to that? I think there's a grown-up conversation to be had here, and there are many twists and turns in it, whether it should happen or it shouldn't happen. But the lad is 27 now. He's clearly right about a new challenge. And if he comes back to Manchester United, there may be a little brief period of honeymoon period, and then it will go back to the reality again. The same issues will be there. The same fans that, people like Ricky who just don't rate him, they'll still be there. The media will still be there. The club will still behave in the same way where, I just think it's a relationship that wasn't working, where they've broken up and both are doing better without each other. And then should we get back together again? Absolutely not. I just think move on. But look, I don't know that some of these stories about a potential return aren't true, but we can pass judgment on it. I think it's better for Rashford that he goes. I think it's better for Amorim that Rashford goes. I think it's better for Manchester United long term as well. I just think that we need to start moving on from these sort of Sancho, Rashford. I even include people like Lindelof, Eriksen, these players that have been here. Maybe not in the case of Eriksen, but Lindelof's been here for a long time. Like, we need to start. I know it's not the same issue as a Rashford, but we need to start moving forward from problems or issues that have been here for a long time. We never deal with them. We only ever move problems on or issues on when they're out of contract. And there are issues that are at this football club that were here from Jose Mourinho days, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer days. Like, we're never going to move on if we keep problems that we can't solve. And I think it's a real positive. Look, maybe Rashford will play against that Latvian team tomorrow and score a couple of goals. This is great for Manchester United. Maybe in the Champions League game against PSG next week, he'll score a goal or have a good game. This is great for Manchester United. Like, he's in the shop window. Let's get the money. Let's move on. I don't see, unless someone in the chat tells me differently, I don't see what a return does for Manchester United, because I've watched Rashford play for Villa. I've watched him play for Man United for years. One of my favourite players a few years ago, but honestly, assessing the player, he's never going to be consistent. Like, he's a typical winger who on his day looks brilliant and then can have days where it just doesn't work. He's never going to hit those consistent levels. And therefore, I don't see I think if he was going to come back to Man United, he'd have to be brilliant week in, week out. And I think that's unobtainable for most players in world football, and I think it would be for him. And then, you know, the problems start again, and it's a toxic environment. And maybe some of us have contributed to that, but ultimately the player and the manager contributed to the exit in January. There was always doubters around Rashford in the fan base, and there was always people who worshipped him in the fan base, and he stayed. But Amrim's obviously come in and gone, you're not working the way I want. They've had their fallout. I don't see a way back while Amrim's here. But they're always going to write about it, aren't they? Ben says that Lingard is more of a club legend than Rashford. You're talking out your arse. Ross McRae Magician says, I think there will be takers for Rashford, but who takes Sancho if Chelsea don't want him anymore other than on a loan deal, which doesn't benefit us, says Ross. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Jadon Sancho's only got a year left on his contract. So I think that if we've removed him for 1 year this year and we've earned some money out of it. If Chelsea send him back, we'll get some money out of it. And I'm pretty sure we could loan him out for his final year. So yeah, I think that will be. I don't think United are particularly worried about Sancho. I think it's being blown out of proportion by the media. Really, I don't see how Man United financially lose out on Jadon Sancho now, because Chelsea have signed that deal, which means we'll get some money anyway. And if he does come back, we'll get money, and therefore, I'm sure he's only got a year left on his contract. He'd be leaving for free next summer anyway. 2026 runs out of the contract with Man United. So, yeah, you know what? Sometimes intelligent observation comes from conversations like these, and effectively, the headlines can only give you so much. The context is there. Like, is Rashford heading back to Man United? Well, him and Amrim fell out, so that's the biggest hurdle. Last night, was it a mistake McTominay going to Napoli? Did Man United make a mistake? Well, McTominay wanted to go. Ten Hag didn't want him to go, and Ineos needed to sell him to get money in. There's a context there, isn't it? It's not as simple as did we make a mistake. There's context, and I think with Jadon Sancho, there is context as well that nobody ever talks about. He's got 1 year left on his contract. If he comes back to Manchester United, what's the value in Man United keeping him? There's none. Think about it. There is absolutely none. Do you think freedom fighter Jadon Sancho is going to sign a new contract at Man United? No, he's not. He's going to go, yeah, I'll play for you, and then I'll fuck off for free in the summer. So there's not even a financial reason for Man United to give Sancho a chance again. But people won't talk about that because it doesn't make sense to them and their headline. Oh, Sancho's going to return. He could be back at Man United on tour in the summer. And as if Man United are going to let that happen. Even if he came back to Man United and played well, the only reason you'd use him would be if he signed a contract so that there's a value there. Because if he comes back and plays well with a year left on his contract, he's off in the summer for free. So it doesn't even work to have Sancho back. What we would do is we'd take him back, we'd take the money from Chelsea, and then we'd look to offload him, because there's no reason to keep a guy that's got 1 year left on the contract and try and, like somebody said the other day, I could see him cooking in an Amrim system. What's he going to do? Put a chef's hat on and a bloody apron and start making an omelette? Like, what cooking is he going to do in an Amrim system? And what sort of prat would Amrim have to be to allow him to cook in that team, knowing he's going to walk out the door for nothing in a year's time? Because he ain't going to sign a new contract, is he? Truzy says we should side Jude Bellingham. And Robert McCormack's in the chat. Morning, Robert. Says the talk will be there until we find someone better. What, than Rashford? Do you not think it's impossible to find somebody better than Rashford when we don't even have a position for Rashford in the team? We don't have a left forward in the team anymore. It's a redundant position. So, yeah. Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video, because we all know only legends like videos, and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video, and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, as always.